I've been always treated with homeopathy and I'm surviving because of homeopathy. As Indians, I'm very proud because India is doing very good with homeopathy. Maybe I've tried homeopathy and it didn't work. It is a failure of that physician, not the system. People will care. The point is how they react or the form they want to take it out, it's their wish. And I want to watch that. If you know the cause, only then you can cure the disease, right? She is having monthly period. Flow is good, but her tendency of ending up with PCOD is high. If I'm dying, I have to die through your medicine and no other medicine is what the patient told. And that is why I agreed to take it.
Welcome to the Life Grits conversation. Today is going to be a Pataka conversation. We have Dr. Purvi. She's a homeopath born into the family of homeopath doctor. And today let's understand what is homeopath and what are the controversies, what are the challenges and how we could benefit from homeopathy. Welcome, Dr. Purvi. Very happy
for
to have you.
inviting me.
I feel I know you forever, though we had met recently for a conversation. It's amazing to have you here. So how does your usual day look like?
My usual day, it is very simple. I wake up, go for a walk, maybe 2 hours of study. It's important. I want to keep that nerd thing in me a
Okay.
little.
Every day you study homeopathy.
Yes.
You refresh, okay?
Maybe a drugs go through of what the concepts are. That's important. And then, my clinic starts at 10 to 1. Again, have a short break. Again, 5 to 8, 8:39. It will go on. And I also work in other hospitals
Okay.
on call homeopath.
Okay.
And I am here for homeopathy.
How long have you been practicing?
So, since my second year, I have been started to practice with my dad, under my dad. But I have officially started since 2 years.
Okay.
Okay.
But then you have been living in the environment of
Yes,
homeopathy.
definitely.
You've
The whole environment, and in my family, there are around 7 homeopaths.
Wow. Okay.
So, I have been under the environment of doctors. In fact, there are allopathic doctors, there are Ayurvedic doctors, there are homeopathic doctors.
Oh, that's amazing. The amalgamation. So, what will you discuss over a family dinner or thing?
No, we keep the medical things apart. Let's talk about life.
Yeah.
Yeah. But it's a good, it's an exchange of information, exchange of patience, exchange of knowledge. And open-mindedness is something that is very important.
And you all accept each other.
Yes.
You don't end up fighting like I'm the best, you're the best. Interesting. Okay. But why did you choose homeopathy as your career?
So it all started, yes, definitely there are homeopaths in my family, but I was a little rebellious kid. I wanted to be different or maybe do something opposite of what my parents tell. So, but then what happened where there was a crucial decision where I have to choose which direction I have to go, whether if it's for the medical or engineering. And at that point, I had my board exams the next day. I was running with a high fever.
Okay.
And my dad was out of town.
Huh?
He was in Belgaum for a seminar. And I had no doctors nearby to give me a homeopathic medicine.
Okay.
So my dad was, obviously, his call was out of reachable. So my mom took to nearby allopathic doctor.
Okay.
That was the first time I've been ever visited officially a doctor. To be frank.
In all
Never
this.
like clinic environment, no. So he examined me and he said it's a flu. And he gave a very mild set of paracetamols and antibiotic. And I just popped in one tablet. I didn't even know how to swallow because none of my medicines include swallowing.
Okay.
So and then I had severe urticaria.
Okay.
I had severe itching. I just immediately rushed the clinic, and I asked, sir, this thing's happened. I think it's because of the duck allergy. And he said, I have just given you a very mild dose, and it is just today that you have got the fever. How are you having this drug allergy? Do you know you had it before? I said, no, I've never took your medicines. And at that point, even though with good marks, I decided if those medicines which I give don't work on me, what would I treat my patients with? So is it wise for me to choose allopathy is what the question just rose in my mind. And whatever I am today, maybe with any conditions I've been through, might be a mild flu
Hmm?
or cold cough, or it can be as chronic as a celiac disease. I've been always treated with homeopathy, and I'm surviving because of homeopathy.
Can you explain what is the celiac disease?
So, celiac disease is where you have severe gluten allergy, where your microvilli in your intestines have been dead
Okay.
and have not been known. So it was, I had a severe urticaria and all the drug reaction, I had that bleps in my skin. And that is where everyone asked me, what did you have? I said, I had chapati. And then I think you have gluten allergy is what my dad told. And I tried once again, testing. So in that I got to know I really
When was this diagnosed?
in my 12th standard.
Okay.
And that is where, I've been again treated beautifully. Now, even if I eat chapati, I'm not affected much. But I know my limits. I can overeat. But eating maybe one chapati wouldn't affect me. But back then, I think I was in a high, severe allergic reaction, even with minute oats, rava, wheat, anything.
You would get inflamed like.
Yes, my skin would get inflamed. My digestive system was disturbed. I would have had loose stools. So it was a severe condition.
So all these things, your father treated you with homeopathy.
Yes.
Does it get an instant relief or do you have to wait?
I have seen instant relief is as fast as 5 seconds.
In 5 seconds, you're either an IBS or an itch.
Yeah, my dysmenorrhea got cured in like 5 seconds. I took medicines. I'm just doing the work and suddenly the pain is off. I didn't wanted any water back.
Wow.
And that was the first and the last time I ever got the pain. From, let's say, maybe 12 years, I've never had the pain.
Okay. This
So-
leads me to the next question.
Yeah.
Not actually the next completely. So, from childhood, you've been treated.
Yes.
Only with homeopathy. If you've fallen, if you've had a bruise, then how was that also treated?
Yes, beautiful.
Oh.
We have our kit, homeopathic kit, where there are medicines for injury, wounds, bruises, and those are all different. Please don't watch some YouTube where the doctor is telling, use this medicine, use that medicine. Do consult a homeopathic doctor and ask him which medicine to be taken.
Are you saying if I get a cut,
Yeah.
there's some sharp object, and
Yeah.
there is a blood?
Again, you told me the cause, sharp object.
Huh.
Then I can tell you this remedy.
And that remedy, if I have that homeopathic remedy,
It is applied externally.
oh, I thought, okay, this itself is a new thing opening up.
Yes.
So homeopathic medicines are not just that sweet, nice, very
It
tasty.
is not confined to that.
There are
It
also
is
external.
broader than that. Yes, definitely.
So a cut also can be treated.
Beautiful.
A pimple can be treated.
Yes.
Okay. A hair fall can be treated. Oh, interesting. I think looking forward for the conversation more than the community and audience. If there is something you wanted to change in your childhood till now, what would you be that?
I think I had a beautiful childhood.
Okay.
And I think every challenges that I faced is what I am today. It has built me strong. I think if those challenges were not there, if those talks were not there, if those
Specifically, your
questions-
visit to your allopathic.
Yes, I think I had to get that fever at that point.
Yes.
If at all that fever was not there, I think I would do the opposite. And maybe if the faith is written in homeopathy, even after being an MBBS doctor, I would come
back.
I am sure. But the thing is, everything happens good. And you're always guided by an energy, is what I feel.
So, are you a purist using only homeopathy for yourself and for your family and for your community of patients who come in?
Yes.
You do not combine.
It again depends on the patient,
Hmm.
what they've been previously treated,
Okay.
and what they are undergoing, and at what stage they are in. Because, see, what I think a good physician is where he knows his scope and limitations, both. I'm not a person where I'm claiming that I will treat everything and anything.
Okay.
Definitely, the stage where the patient is in is very important. Because as a person, for me, human has to survive, not the disease. So for that, I can do anything. But the problem is, I know the limitation. If, example, a patient has had a like road traffic accident, he broke his bone.
Yeah.
I can't claim I'll treat you with homeopathy. It needs a mechanical fixation, and I'm not against that. You need an orthopedic surgeon to fix your arm.
And then maybe healing process is where you come.
I come in,
And it can be faster and it
Yes.
can be painless.
which is antiseptic, like it cures, and it is against any microbes or any other infection that is invading your wound. Your cells react to homeopathy a lot more than I think any betadine or any other tinctures would work. And personally, I know few surgeons and they've used it and they were shocked.
Wow.
They were shocked, and yes, they are using homeopathy.
So that collaboration with the surgeons and after the surgery is where you become very effective. This treatment works very well.
I think the whole system of healing will work when all the system have their acceptance and open-mindedness. If it is as combined, and if one leaves their ego, I think as a whole, medical system will be upheld.
However, practically, when you are there in some seminar or webinar or any places where your family itself is a great example, allopathic doctors. How is a homeopathic doctor respected or adopted or accepted?
Thing is, all the seniors are homeopathic doctors. Whoever the
In
youngsters are.
maybe in a very different setup.
Yeah, but my father is having a collaboration with Fortis, and every seminar, it could be the surgery, robotic surgery, we're always been updated with the knowledge, and they have always respected us because a physician is known by the number of cases is being treated and number of patients who stands in front of his clinic is the proof, is the living proof. No person is mad to stand outside the clinic and wait.
Yeah, wait in the queue to meet the doctor and get healed.
If I'm giving anything so-called as placebo, no one will wait for that. Or if I'm just having a talk, I think if just listening and talking would work, then everyone would have been healed, right? Everyone talk. Who doesn't talk?
Correct.
So why am I still having the disease? That's where the medicinal power comes in.
This is the answer for your usual question. Is homeopathy placebo? That is a universal question that...
And I can't believe even now doctors with such an awareness, they know what is homeopathy and they don't have that so-called as what we have read is in forensic medicine, we have called as medical ethics.
Okay.
Of not talking wrong about another physician.
I think even in the human level also, that's not accepted.
It is very wrong. Even though might be the person who gave the medicine is wrong, I'm not claiming that this is absolutely wrong. That's wrong. According to the medical ethics, you're not supposed to talk that way.
No, but they're saying that it is a placebo. It's a placebo effect.
Why would government accept that and give us license number?
Good argument.
If it was a placebo, why is there a so-called as homeopathic pharmacopoeia of India, where they have mentioned how to prepare each drug, how to prepare it, how to potentize it, how to get into a dispensable form, how to dispense it, where to dispense it. Everything is mentioned step by step.
And you are the last word in Ayush. H is homeopathy.
Now it is completely another system, to be frank. We have our own system.
Okay.
So National Council of Homeopathy.
Okay.
So now we don't come under Ayush also. We have our own system. Ayurveda, Naturopathy, Yoga and all is under one system.
Yeah.
So homeopathy is another board. MBBS is another board.
Okay.
So yes, it's from this year.
Why is that?
Because the number of homeopathy researches that is happening, so it is broader.
So you needed that attention,
Gap.
special attention.
Yes, we needed that gap, we needed that attention, and we needed our own space. We just don't wanted to combine all together because we as a system, we were very strong.
Okay.
And when we are saying that it is the second most largest system of medicine after allopathy that is being practiced in the whole world,
Okay.
I think as Indians, I'm very proud because India is doing very good with homeopathy.
Okay.
And all the foreign abroad patients are coming to India for homeopathy.
Okay.
Though it is a foreign medicine,
Now that's it.
India is growing.
Yeah. Can
Yes.
you explain what is homeopathy and the source? From which country did it come? The background of homeopathy.
I should mention at the start, it's by Dr. Christian Friedrich Henneman, who is the founder of homeopathy. He's himself an allopathic doctor who has done his MBBS around mid-50.
Okay. Okay.
And he did his MD. And long back, there was no anesthesia, there was no cleanliness, and there was a lot of bloodletting, leeches, etc., etc. That was very crude. And he felt like patient, more than dying out of his suffering, by the process of the healing itself, the person is dying. And that's not the process of healing. He really felt that. And he left this practice. He said, I didn't want to adopt something so cruel. I will leave the system.
Okay.
I do not want to practice any of my doctoring here. And he left it. And then what happened is he started working as a translator.
Okay.
Okay. He comes from a
He
very
quit his medical career and became a translator.
Yes. He was, he was very intelligent with the languages. He knew many languages.
Okay.
So he took up the job of translating. He comes from a very poor background. His dad was a painter and it was bare minimum in his family.
Okay.
So what he did, okay, let me translate. So once what happened in 1790, he was translating Cullen's Metra Medica.
Okay.
And he comes over a sentence telling Cinchona bark. It is a bark of a tree, Cinchona officinalis. So that bark will cure the malaria-like symptoms due to its bitterness.
Okay.
Okay. So he didn't understand the phrase. How can a bitterness cure malaria-like symptoms? There are many things which are bitter. Not everything can cure malaria-like symptoms, isn't it? So out of his curiosity or the experimental mind, so he saw the instruction. He took 4 grams of that cinchona bark diluted form, the way it had to prepare. He prepared. He took 4 grams 2 times a day. And astonishingly, he found the malaria, all the malaria-like symptoms like periodicity in the fever, sweating, palpitation, everything which exactly mimicked malaria, but he never suffered from malaria. He just had the same malaria-like symptoms after taking the drug.
Oh, okay.
And when he stopped the drug, those symptoms stopped.
Okay.
And he got to know it is beyond bitterness. There is something, an active principle that is working. And that is how it is making me get through the symptoms.
Okay.
And to get over those symptoms, he diluted it. He took it in another repeatedly form. And whatever the symptoms that were remaining, that was just, it just vanished.
Okay.
Okay. And that is how the whole ideology of homeopathy came into. And since then, he read the few more medicines. He started experimenting with different plants and tried to take it in. And by 1796, where he published a book journals where he mentioned homeopathy and this is what the things happened. He told what the experiment is about. And that is where the birth of homeopathy took. Again, it was incomplete.
Which country did you say?
Germany.
Germany. Okay.
Yeah. So, and then over there, again, there was a dominance of allopathic system.
Okay.
And people were claiming, yeah, just because you don't want to practice this, you're telling all this. He was adamant. See, there is an answer for everything through nature. If you're born through nature, there is answers in nature as well. If you're suffering from a disease, there is an answer in nature. Why not look into the nature and find a solution?
How was it different from naturopathy and homeopathy?
Again, naturopathy, Ayurveda, everyone had they had the same concept of nature, but again different regions.
Different regions.
And the communication was not there at that point, right? We don't have YouTube, we don't have WhatsApp to channelize the knowledge. So at that point, Hahnemann had no idea of Ayurveda.
Okay.
Ayurveda stands long back.
Yes.
But what differentiates homeopathy from all of it comes where he found out the process of potentization or the minimal dose, concept of minimal dose. Though even we take it, like 65% of our drugs are of plant base.
Okay.
And each have their own way of preparation. Classifications are there. But then, which to taken, what products to taken, when to taken, everything he experimented. And along with that, there are a lot of pioneers. There are many pillars who has worked during his phase, after his phase, because anything that is built, he gave a foundation. Hahnemann gave a foundation, and then all the pillars came through. And I think where we are standing is in the roof.
We are just benefiting out of all their work.
Yes. It's all their work that is helping out. So many contributions are there, many philosophies there. And to be one thing that I think homeopathy stands out is whatever Dr. Hahnemann has written, maybe how to take a case, how to prepare the medicine, what dose to be given, what is the classification of diseases, telling that person is important more than disease. Person stands out first. Okay, it's not the case that is important. For us, the patient is important. We in homeopathy don't like calling as a case, pneumonia case or diabetic case. No. That person has a name XYZ, ABC. Please call her that person. That person is important, not the disease. So, yeah, I think
it's very interesting that you know a lot of things. Is it like only because of the education, or is it because you come from the background of
as in background, I had a very few knowledge, and I think my father started explaining what really homeopathy is when he was 100% sure I was into it.
Okay,
maybe just 1 month back before my college starts, there he was like, see, you're a homeopathic child and you're supposed to know all this because your lecturers will expect you to know.
What is taught in your homeopathic education?
So first thing, we have been taught about how was homeopathy born.
Okay. The history which you explained.
Yes.
Okay.
So what are the pioneers? Why did the pioneers come? Because even in pioneers, few are lawyers, few are allopaths who converted themselves and devoted themselves to homeopathy. Okay. Because everyone had that suffering and somewhere homeopathy cured them. And our philosophy is very strong.
Okay.
I think whatever the words Dr. Hahnemann have written, that is unchanged.
Okay.
That needs no modification till date. It is applicable even now. Our theories don't change.
More than 1,000 years, no?
Yes.
Not
1,000, maybe 200, 250 plus.
Okay, it is 2020.
I think the first, the latest edition was 1921.
Okay.
The 6th edition. So since then, there were no changes done. There were no need of changes because the last changes in himself, Dr. Hahnemann has written, and that was published in 1921. Since then, there were no changes done, and there were no changes required.
Okay.
It was perfectly made. It's the way you adopt those aphorisms or that knowledge of what he has written. Your understanding may, it depends.
Okay, yes.
It is a Bible for us.
Yeah. Or a Bhagavad Gita.
Bhagavad Gita.
Okay, okay. Apart from the background of pioneers, and what do you learn? How long is this course?
It's 5.5 years.
Okay.
And in homeopathy, since our founder was allopathic himself, so he meant we have to know allopathic knowledge.
Ah.
When I say allopathic knowledge, not their treatment knowledge, it's what they learn
Okay.
about a disease,
Okay.
about human body. In fact, when Dr. Henneman was studying his MBBS, at that point, he had beautifully written a book on hand anatomy. I think he was the person who contributed to the anatomy field.
Okay, okay.
He's the first person to write
Right.
how
Fingers, nails, and all these
hands function.
the movement and everything.
Yes, what are the muscles?
Okay.
So I think being curious, being knowledgeable, I think that worked out. And you have that experiment mind, you have that mind of asking how, where, when, questioning mind. That is how we helped him to build.
Okay.
And yeah, and we are just following those.
So in this 5.5 years, you learn about human anatomy like any other allopathic doctor and you also get to know every single disease that the normal
Yes,
allopathic doctors study.
yes. It's the same number of marks. It's the same amount of paper. 2 papers, 200 marks, 200 marks viva. Same time of duration, same books. It's the same surgery books we have studied. It's the same medicine books we have studied. It's the same OBG books we have studied. It's the same health physiology, anatomy, forensic medicine, community medicine, preventive medicine. Everything is the same. Same university.
But the only thing where you differ is a treatment.
Yes.
Okay, okay.
That's where their difference is. We even learn about the instruments that are there in OT, that are used in obstetrics.
But why do you need that?
It is because we as doctors come first.
Right.
Then comes the system.
Okay.
If someone is bleeding, I can't be like, okay, let he bleed. No.
It's
I
not
have to
like,
put a
sorry,
suture.
I'm a homeopathy doctor. I don't know how to stitch.
Exactly.
You can't do that.
Exactly.
So they're training you to be like where you can fill in a place.
Yeah. And as first, we are doctors.
Huh.
That we are not supposed to forget. Where a person needs CPR, I have to give CPR.
Okay, okay. Why I'm like very surprised is today, batch flow can be learned by anyone. Like I practice, I learned batch flow. I don't come from any sort of medical background. So I can't call myself, I can call myself a batch flow practitioner, but then that is different. But a homeopathy doctor is skilled enough to fill in any place for any emergencies and anything. That is itself is a news to me. It's interesting. When you get introduced as a homeopath doctor, set of new people, what are the questions that you're asked?
Starting, why homeopathy and what is homeopathy?
Okay. How does it feel?
Okay. Yeah, it's okay. I feel they lack in the knowledge and I am free to explain them what homeopathy is. But yeah, I can question their curious mind, but not their ego.
No, let's say people who are there are not doctors, they're very normal. You meet them in a club or you meet them outside in a normal place, in a movie hall or somewhere you meet them, and when they get to know, one is like, why homeopathy? That is one thing. And what is homeopathy? Apart from that, what do they...
I am very proud to tell I'm a homeopathy. First thing, because anything that has cured me or I'm curing people and people are telling my son or daughter is alive because of you, it's a big thing to hear. And I feel like as a person, a human, my purpose of being alive is fulfilled when I hear those words.
So beautiful to listen that.
So as a person, I am very proud to be calling myself as homeopathic. And what I have learned, I'm preaching it, I'm applying it.
Yes, yes.
And I stand for it.
Yeah, true.
And it also, at the same time, I do respect the other system of medicine. Because even they contain a very valuable information. Even in allopathy, the way they experiment or the way they theorize the disease to such an extent where they try to find what are the actual symptoms.
Very helpful.
Yeah, very helpful. And I'm open to their knowledge.
Yes.
I love to learn what is happening, what is the new thing that is there.
Yes. Yes.
But I also see where I can apply homeopathy in that point.
Right. True.
That is from my hand.
What are fun questions you're asked when they get to know you're a homeopathic doctor?
So they ask, why do you give that sugar pills?
That's
They directly tell it's sugar. Okay, why do you give that sugar? Okay, so yeah, homeopathy is not just confined to sugar. It's just a base.
Is it a sugar? Is it sugar?
No, it's not sugar. Okay, so what it is made from sugar of milk.
Sugar of milk.
Yeah, it is a form of lactose where it contains 1 unit of beta galactose and 1 unit of levogalactose.
Okay.
And both those levo and beta galactose does not cause any diabetes. Does not raise your insulin level.
Okay.
Okay, they are not related to any of your insulin production.
Okay.
Because anything you eat, it contains some kind of galactose, some kind of glucose, and not all glucose are bad for your body. Understanding that is very important. So what happens is we extract it from many sources, but a main source is goat's milk. We process it and we take out the fat and casein, protein that is there in this one, and what the processed part we get is only the piece amount.
Okay. Okay.
And all this are done in a specific method.
Okay. Okay.
And they're very easy to make. The process, he has mentioned it in such a way that if you are ended up with nothing also, you can make it with your hands.
The globules.
Yes.
The pills.
Pills or in the powder form. Okay, even if you don't find any of it, you don't have milk, you don't have goat's milk, let's say. Even with the water, you can dispense it. You can dispense it with the dispensing alcohol.
Okay. Okay.
Okay. You can dispense it through glycerols, through oils.
Okay. Okay.
Through even there are certain soap form, paraffins. So these are all the base.
So these pill,
they're not medicines.
They're not medicine. They are carriers.
They are.
So the medicine is not even added to anything. So it is just a plain base material. The white sugar pill.
Yes.
That sweet one is just the base foundation.
Yes.
To carry the medicine that is needed for a patient or whoever needs it for any cure.
Yes. What comes the main medicine is our dilution.
Okay. Okay. So you call it a dilution or a medicine? What is it called?
So medicine is when we process a drug and we bring to a processed form where we can use it into a dispensable. When you add a base to it, then it is called a medicine. But before adding a base, and like when it is in a raw form, then it is called a dilution.
Okay.
We add the dilution to a base, then make a medicine out of it.
Okay.
Because anything you can't use dilution directly. Okay. You have to bring it to a form where a human can take in.
Okay. So that taken form can be a sugar pill or like a powder or
in the tablet form
or even water.
Yes.
Just dispense a few dilution, then that cup of water becomes medicine.
Yes.
Okay.
So these dilutions again, they can be out of different sources.
Like the bark that he found out.
Yeah.
So that
comes to the plant group. So similarly, there are animal group. There are nosodes. There are sarcodes. Sarcodes are the ones that are made from healthy human glands or products. Then nosodes are from the deceased products. So animal sources, it can be as simple as from honeybee or it from our favorite remedy, sepia, which is made from the ink of a cattlefish.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, its secretions are taken in. So whatever availability is there in the nature, it is taken
in the form
and it is adapted and it is brought to a form where you can dispense it. And then it is combined with the base and then given it to you.
Okay, so when you are explaining this, so dilution means it's not the 100 ml of anything or a 1 ml or 10 ml.
No.
Homeopathy is more about the memory of the molecules
Yes.
or memory of the medicine.
Yes.
Can you explain this?
So the memory of the molecules, example, every plant has its active principle.
Okay.
Okay. Those active principles are, when taken in a raw form, they create adverse side effects.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, that is where we differ from a little out of the boxes from Ayurveda,
Okay.
because we directly do not take the infusion
So let's
of the
say
plants.
neem.
Neem.
Okay, neem in Ayurveda or even in Siddha, we just dry it, or even a fresh neem leaf we consume.
Mm.
But at the same time, if the neem has certain medicinal value for if in homeopathy, but you would dilute that, or you would just take the essence of it.
Mm.
Okay. Okay.
We take the essence out of it, and then after taking the essence, there is a way of potentizing
Okay.
through succussion or trituration.
Okay.
Depending on the content of juices in it, and is it water soluble or it is alcohol soluble.
Mm.
We have to see the products,
Okay.
because every plant product varies.
Okay.
So accordingly, we make it,
Mm.
and then we bring it to a power.
Okay.
See, it is not just the medicine, the raw form of medicine.
Mm.
We have to increase its medicinal power.
Mm.
Okay,
How do you increase it? I mean, how do the
that is what the process of potentization comes in.
Okay.
Till then, the product is in raw form itself.
Okay.
If you want to grind it also, or if you want to boil it also,
Mm.
you're just extracting the content.
Right.
But that is not medicine yet. That is just a drug. That is just a raw form of it. And we're not using just the raw form of it.
Okay. So boiling a neem leaf in water doesn't become medicine.
Medicine.
Okay.
It is
In
not the
homeopathy-
medicine yet. Example, even tulsi.
Hmm.
We are boiling it. We have not brought it to the medicinal state yet.
Okay. Okay.
The medicinal state is brought when we undergoes the process of potentization, and the
Okay.
potentization process doesn't need heavy machines.
Mm-hmm.
You can prepare it right here.
Wow. Okay.
Okay, it's that easy, because our Dr. Henneman has explained how to make it,
Okay.
and it's very simple.
Mm.
You just have to have simple the amount of measurements and how much to use it, at what quantity. He has mentioned it. That way you have to prepare it. You just have to have the memory of how to do it. That's it.
The procedure is given.
Procedure is very simple.
So if I have a neem leaf and water, then
Yeah.
I can make a homeopathic
Homeopathic
medicine
medicine.
with the instructions
Yes.
followed. And at any place, it doesn't need
Yes.
complication.
Yes.
Okay. Okay.
Even Jambulicum,
Huh.
right? You would have seen that purple color. You make a medicine out of it.
Okay.
But even when you're taken in fruit form, it has few good effects on you.
Mm.
I'm not against that. You can take in. But the problem is, it is just acting on your nutritional level,
Right.
right?
Yes. Yes.
If it has to reach too deep in your, we have a concept of vital force, that is the innermost layer,
Mm.
where your will and understanding is there. After will and understanding, there is so-called as vital force.
Mm.
Then comes your nutritional level. Then comes the material body,
Mm.
where all the organs come in place.
Which is the equivalent of the 5 koshas.
Yes.
Okay.
So even in Ayurveda, when they say Vata, Pitta, Kapha, so even in homeopathy, we have psora, psychosis, syphilis.
Mm.
Okay, syphilis is a destructive form. Psora is a very basic form of
Okay.
condition.
Okay.
The psychosis is more of an accumulative form.
They call it as a body constitution, Vata, Pitta, Kapha. So here also.
It is a constitution itself. So it's not equivalent,
Mm.
but the classification, 3 classification is almost the same.
Okay. Okay.
Again, what comes under it is a little different.
Okay.
And again, Sir Dr. Henneman has written in his book of what psora contains, what are the symptoms in psora. Patient who is of psora, maybe he's not even a patient yet, and yet you can decide what constitution he is having and what diseases he probably will get affected with,
Okay.
and why is he behaving like this. All is explained by this constitution and the staging of miasms.
Oh, that's becoming too technical.
Too deep it is.
Okay. Maybe to simplify, I don't know if we get this 2 hours will not be sufficient.
Yes.
Okay, let's just take it back to the gear one, very
Yeah.
basics. When do I choose a homeopath?
So, if it is affecting your day-to-day work, your habits, or your day-to-day routine, and when you think basic food or what I take in is not being enough, is not treating me good enough, and I'm not keeping well even after that, is where you have to consult a doctor, a homeopathic physician for yourself.
Okay.
Okay?
And usually it is about preventive or cure. Preventive, usual human being hesitates. How do I keep myself healthy? As if I eat well, sleep well, basic lifestyle, that's all. At that time, we don't even think about doctors. Only when there is a problem, we think about it. And usually homeopaths are sometimes complementary, practically speaking. We did a few research, asked people, when will you reach? So they said, if nothing works, then maybe I will try. It's like they've tried or they don't want to go to an allopath for whatever reason, Ayurveda or they came through a reference. Somebody got healed with homeopath. That is where the first
Word of mouth.
trigger to reach a homeopath happens.
Yes.
So the problems would be usually minimal, or how do they come? Like, is it for very minimal challenges like acne or a skin problem? Do they come for that, or do they come for a higher challenges like IBS or a constipation, gut health, that kind of a problem, or chronic illness? When are people coming to you?
So more are of chronic.
Really? Okay.
More are of chronic and more are of autoimmune condition.
Okay.
Because I would challenge, autoimmune conditions are best treated with homeopathy.
Okay.
So, and yet patient will go to first allopathy or Ayurveda because the awareness is more. And what happens is, when the case is brought to us in its purest form, it is way more easier to treat.
When you say purest form, first time
itself.
Not after consulting and
Exactly.
confusing your body system with multiple things.
Yes.
They don't. If they come first to you, then it is easier.
It's very easiest to solve.
Okay.
And the duration of time taken to cure the patient when it first approaches us, then going elsewhere, it's very easy because we will know its signs and symptoms and the body what it's showing. Because for us, more than the reports, what the patient is telling, what are his sufferings, when does it increase, decrease, what is the location, what is the onset, what is the cause. It can be mentally, physically, or any problem of adaptability, or if it is in a panicky situation that the person is undergoing. Everything accounts for us. So we analyze the patient, and it's more easier for us to treat the medicine. We give the medicine. But when he comes after he is going through all the other system of medicine, what happens is your symptoms are confused. There might be a different type of suppressions. Because, example, he might be having a small patch. Maybe before the patch, he had an oozing of liquid, or maybe he had blood spots, which has been suppressed by any external application. But it's not in the purest form, right?
So for you, it is a 2-level of treatment.
Yes. Now we have to ask them previously the medication, what was the kind of lesion? Do you have any picture of it? Or what are the symptoms that you had it?
You have to do a detective job.
That is how it takes time for us to take the case.
Is homeopathy can be considered for preventive lifestyle?
Definitely.
So I don't have any problem. I'm a healthy individual.
Okay.
How do I continue to be healthy individual and be fit? Is like a concept of family homeopathy doctor to be preventive health.
So preventive health, what it is for even for a preventive health, we have to take a case because we have to know as a person, as Kritika, I should know how you've been in your childhood, how it was you have been in your later life, and what are you now at present.
Okay.
What were your past illness? What you undergone? The whole of your constitution, in which staging you are. Then then I can tell you what are the probable preventive things that I can prevent you. Are there any genetic disease is what I would see. Family history is very important for us.
Okay. Okay.
So all the genetic conditions, autoimmune condition that can be genetically inherited, we can stop that through homeopathy.
Okay. Okay.
So preventive, definitely.
So, but okay, if an adult comes to you, you will want to know all their history,
Definitely.
even if that person doesn't have any problem.
It's the same amount of time taken for a person who's in healthy state as well as in a sick state.
Okay. What do you understand? I know for a fact that a homeopathy doctor spend a lot of time understanding.
Yes.
Is it like counseling you do?
No. If it is counseling, then any counselor would be a therapeutic person, right? Like, why is he being called as a
Homeopathic doctor. But how? Why? Why is homeopathic doctor?
For us to choose medicines, we have to know the person as an individual because our medicines act individually. The concept of individualization is very much important. That's the whole base of homeopathy. And the most similar medicine for that individual should be indicated. Only then homeopathy will work. You might have heard few people telling that maybe I've tried homeopathy and it didn't work. It is a failure of that physician, not the system.
Not the system.
Definitely not the system. The system is perfectly made.
Where it could have failed, where the physician could have failed.
His lack of knowledge.
Lack of knowledge on the person or the system?
About the person, about the system as well. His knowledge about the drugs, his knowledge about the application, knowledge about understanding the patient.
I think that is common across physicians, no?
Definitely.
If anyone is not getting healed, it means that.
But the problem is, in a growing environment, when you just go for trialing and you don't immediately find relief, what would they say? Homeopathy ne sarilla. Homeopathy itself is not good enough. That is wrong. You tell the person, individual is not right. I'm ready to take it. Don't blame the system.
I think that's a very good message from you. Don't blame the system, blame the physician.
I'm open for that. But you say homeopathy doesn't work, I am not going to take that.
Okay, curious. What do you understand by talking to the individual? See, there, for example, a case, if a young woman comes and she's explaining, when you end up talking to her and she's explaining her a little unsettling problem with her mother-in-law or husband or a children, some problem. What are you trying to understand from that episode of her story?
So I will first understand her reaction.
Okay.
So every response of an person differs from individual to individual, right? Maybe the way I react, you may not react, right? Or the other person may not react. Maybe some people control their anger. Some people might throw it out. Some people will throw it on others. Some people might
don't care.
They don't care. No, don't care is not the thing. People will care. The point is how they react or the form they want to take it out. It's their wish. And I want to watch that. If they get angry and they cry, that comes under a different constitution. If they get angry and they choose to hit someone, that is different constitution. If they are angry and if they throw things apart, here and there, they throw, not on the person, but they come to home and they show all that anger. Maybe to their kids or to their wife. That is a different constitution. Maybe some just keep the anger within themselves, not react, be all the diligent, but suddenly they end up having stomach pain. That is a different constitution. Suddenly they become after that point of anger, when they suppress it or just keep it on to themselves, and suddenly they end up, I feel like I should have thrown, but I couldn't throw because I'm not that kind. Maybe all the response is different. And under anger, we have around 80 to 90 medicines. Around 80 to 90 medicines, I have to see what is his reaction, what is his response, how he is telling it to me, how he is seeing others in his point of view. For me, others are not important. There might be point where he is saying, Nodi madam, hing madidare, hang madidare. Nange ಅವರು important alla. It is you.
How you respond.
What are you responding? Why is it getting affected? See, I can't change the environment. I can just change your response to it and not make it so much affected that it changes your whole system. From mental, it shouldn't go to the physical.
So when they come with a stomach ache, you ask what happened in the recent?
Yeah, I will ask the events. When it is started, I'll start with that.
They say maybe, let's take a let's say I had a food poisoning or my stomach is upset.
Yes.
Then what is your question?
So, if they've told me the cause is direct to the food, then it is on the nutritional level. And that is where it comes under the acute case.
So, food poisoning could have been because of emotional reasons?
Not really. It can be out of, one is emotional reasons, maybe some cases, but in some cases, genuine food poisoning can be the cause also. So if you're taking a very dirty water and not and just telling that, okay, it's because of my emotional disturbance that I've got affected, no. Maybe even with me, with the strong emotions, I will also get affected, right? So entirely, I can't be telling on the emotions.
So
first
for the food poisoning case, you could say, what did you eat? Assume it was all clean food only.
Yes.
Then is when you will go deeper.
Yes.
Okay.
Let's start with the general. Let's start with the basic. Why do you think there was stomach ache for you? And they say, gottilla, I always get this. I always get these burbs. Is there any changes in your lifestyle? Is what I ask. Is there, you do a lot of night shifts, or is there any changes in your timings of your food, or is the food you eat is more of outside? It is very basic where I go in. And when I feel the cases beyond the nutrition level and it is more deeper, is when I go more deeper and ask, is any emotional disturbances there?
Okay.
It's a step-by-step process.
So from the time a person walks into your clinic, their body language, their everything.
I've seen the bonding between a doctor and a patient is very different from the other system.
So you become family friends, or they open up to you everything.
Everything.
Because unless they open, they will not be treated.
My father always tells me, whenever he sends me, he is more of pathological prescriber.
Okay.
I go deeper.
I should again let's simplify. What is pathological prescriber?
So pathological prescriber is when you, example, have fibroids in your uterus. Okay. More on pathology, like example, the investigations, the size of the fibroid, the location of the fibroid, when did it start. So, example, PCOD. Okay, if it is more on like the cyst. So, we have specific pathological prescription.
Okay.
Based on only even just by your blood reports and merely knowing the patient, you know they're of this constitution and they are ended up with the fibroid. We can give medicine.
Okay. You don't need to know the story. Okay.
But when the response to pathological prescription is not good, that is where you have to go a little more deeper.
Okay.
And ask, what is the real cause? What is the triggering thing, or what is the imbalance in your emotion? What is it happening?
Okay.
Sometimes the cases will solve by 30% by just hearing them. They need someone to hear and listen them out. Maybe just telling, Kuttan fibroid anta. It's not that. It's not just telling the diagnosis. They want someone to hear what the symptoms are. And as doctors,
what they're going through, they need a patient ear.
Even 101 case, you have to patiently listen as the first time you have listened.
Mm. So a lot of
Should be.
patience.
It should
You
be.
need to have a lot of
It
patience.
should be. Yes.
You guys also use scanning and all the tests and other thing. How is it?
So, before okay, now since it is advanced,
Mm.
so it is no wrong in making in necessity points
Mm.
where you feel there is something more deeper pathology than what the patient is explaining,
Mm.
and finding out what the real cause is.
Mm.
Example, the patient is having repeated vomiting,
Mm.
and you give related to gastric, and you see.
Mm.
So, and it doesn't come down. You ask what are the more symptoms again, and somewhere it indicates that there is some maybe clot in the brain,
Mm.
and you need further investigation,
Mm.
because there we need to the important aspect is you have to diagnose the case
That too in the right sense.
right sense in the right this one, because if it is related to the clot, or if it is related to the tumor in the brain, or if it is related to your epigastric,
Mm.
if it related to your esophagus,
Mm.
there is specific remedies for that,
Okay.
because in our drug repertorization,
Mm.
there is given according to the anatomical parts
Okay.
for your hand, for your right limb, for your left limb, for your
Oh, there are
gastric.
two different medicines for right leg.
Yes.
Okay.
Right side of your body is for towards liver, gastric, biliary dysfunction. Biliary system, you have medicine, separate medicine. For your gastric stomach, it's different. For your intestines, it's different. For anus is different. For your rectum is different. So for your stool is different. Every medicine varies.
Okay.
It
There is
is
no generic
no generic.
pain generic.
No, not.
There's no paracetamol equivalent in homeopathy. Okay. So if
Generalized pain I can manage.
uh
But if the pain is to an extent where it is drawing for longer period, then I have to.
So if I come to a homeopath saying, claiming that I have a headache, then this headache will be not treated with a paracetamol or you. Okay.
We have to understand your constitution, from how long it is the headache is.
Only then it will be prescribed.
Yes.
And if you have like a deduction method, you will prescribe on various things. If it doesn't work, then you send them for tests.
Mhm.
Any test that is applicable, and you use the technology very much to from there to prescribe and heal
If
him.
you know the cause, only then you can cure the disease, right?
This PCOS, PCOD also, can you identify when they are young itself, and you can treat them in the very initial, in the time of menarche itself? Is it possible?
See, again, it differs, because even with an example of an identical twins, I had a patient where the other twin had PCOD, the other one didn't.
Okay.
So the other sister didn't have it.
Uh,
So you can't be telling that since your mother had, both will also get it.
mm,
So it is wrong that way.
okay.
So maybe again, as an individual, that person is a little different, the other sister, and the other sister is a little different.
Okay.
But definitely, the way the constitution is
Will be different.
will be different. How their habit and lifestyle will be different, and we know that proper under what miasm, what a staging it is.
Okay.
We will know. Okay, it
Okay.
is under little psychosis.
Okay.
So she has more tendency for that.
Okay.
We can know by that. But definitely, before prescribing, we will see signs and symptoms.
Okay. Okay.
Okay? Because for us, the patient is important. All investigation is secondary.
Mm.
Primary is the patient.
Mm.
Is patient suffering it from that particular symptom?
Okay. Okay.
Is the patient complaining me of that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay? We should know as a person, is the suffering, is his sign, is his symptoms. Symptoms is like, on the basis of symptom is what the homeopathy is relying on.
Okay. Okay.
Okay?
If the child, the menarche, in the initial period of periods, now which is 8, 9, and 10, and if they don't have any symptoms, then you don't get to treat or prevent also.
Prevent, see, at the basic level itself, you will know.
Mm.
Okay, she has a high susceptible, then you start treating. Then, example, a child, she is literally obese. She has hairutism already, facial hairs, acanthosis nigricum, darkening of this one. But her menarche, like her menses is going well.
Yes.
Okay.
That's a
Her
good
menses are going well.
Huh.
She is having monthly periods.
Huh.
Flow is good.
Huh.
But her tendency of ending up with PCOD is high.
Because you have seen the symptoms of facial hair growth or
Yes.
the body structure.
Yes.
Okay. Then you can start treating it
Yes.
much before.
Yes.
Okay. Assume this kid has got a PCOS. Then how homeopathy treats?
Then again, there are two methods.
Hmm.
One is pathological prescription. One is taking it more deeper when it is not working through. And trust me, homeopathy as a subject, every physician has its own way. Okay. And as long as he is following the rules, what Hahnemann has written, it is right. Maybe some don't like pathological prescription, they'll go deeper. Some might like pathological prescription. Some, again, there are different ways how you take the medicine because it's see, what he has written is in Germany.
Yeah.
Sorry, German language. And it is translated to English. Again, we are translating it to our mother language.
Right.
And what we are conversing is in our mother language, right?
Yes.
Again, you have to know the basic principles. How you are applying is your choice.
And how well you are aware of every single thing and how you can connect the dots.
That part needs a little of experience. That is where I am in a little advantage side.
Yeah.
That's a thing. And the youngsters, that they have to develop.
What are some case studies which you have wow, one, your own personal experience, of course, but when you're practicing and when you have seen your father practicing and you have seen some cases and you were also wondering how is this going to be treated? Any such case studies?
Actually, there are a lot. Okay, I can talk about a case that I took a month ago and successfully treated the child who is 23 years, who had repeated pancreatic cyst.
Okay,
where the cyst had to be drained out. There were multiple cysts. And this is where investigation plays a role. She, before coming up, she went to a lot of reputed hospitals, I could say. I don't want to name them. But then when she came here and her mother told, these are the drugs, ma'am, that they used on my child. And if she continues taking, I'm pretty sure she'll die.
Wow.
This is what she told. Okay. So she was like, she's a Bengali. She told me, can you please save my child? And then I took the case. It was also once pathologically tried. Again, I took that case deeply. And then after taking the case, I've given the medicine. And after 3 months of medication, I did a repeated USG. And there are no cysts. There's no inflammation in the pancreas. The number of healthy cells are more. So she said to me, this is such a beautiful system. Why is it not aware? This is beyond science. She told me that. My husband, who's he's a allopathic big fan, who I told I'm going to homeopathy, and he argued with me because they get panicked. Only child, right?
Yes.
Parents have that quarrels, and the other lady is too much into holistic approach or more of Ayurveda, homeopathy. So natural sources are best is what she thought. And then I asked, what is your husband telling? Ma'am, not even a word, ma'am.
And such a relief, no? And no side effects?
No side effects.
Because that parent came to you because this many medicines, my child will be in trouble because of the side effects.
I made them stop everything. Whatever she was taking, completely. I said, just leave it onto my hands.
At this early career, you should have also gone through
whatever she was taking. I made her drop it right there. From today, you're not taking any of it, is what I said.
That is the confidence you have on the system.
Mm.
And after pathological, you tried your.
So, if someone asks me evidence, no,
Mhm.
before and after reports, I'll show it in. I'll just keep it in the table. You see. Don't question me.
Very, very powerful case study for homeopathy.
Yes.
Because usually homeopathy, when I asked people, they said, no, I wouldn't go for very chronic illness. They said, it's completely different from what you explained. They said, yeah, when I have acne or when I have a hair fall and things like that, that is when I go to
It
homeopathy.
is beyond nail, skin, and hair.
But this case study is very powerful. Interesting. Is there anything else you want to share? Because these are something
There
which
are
will
more.
bring more people towards.
And even in the cancer, what I have seen is, few patients opt both of it, but few patients where they are adamant followers of homeopathy, and throughout their life they have seen themselves being cured. So they are ready to only sustain through homeopathy, and with their whole consent, only with homeopathy. From 8 years I've been treating, and she's very well. She had no pain. She had no other side effects of hair
No
fall.
chemo,
Nothing. There are cases. There are beautiful cases. But yeah, again, presentation, you have to get this approval. See, it's all in the patient choice. When we have took the consent, they don't have the rights, right? So you're not supposed to, impulse the patient to do this and this.
Yeah, you can force
It also depends on the attenders.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
A lot of influence.
Yeah, so they have the influence. Oh, sirf homeopathy, only homeopathy. How?
This is amazing. Like you are treating a cancer patient with homeopathy with no other medicines, and 8 years, and she's been healthy, and she's living her life without any compromise.
So I'm not telling that cancer has been full cured. No one can cure cancer. It's a, I mean, like, it is a lack, and we are supposed to accept that. But the suffering, or if I could increase their life expectancy from 2-3 years more.
I'm sure this bit of conversation can be controversial and
Yeah.
invite a lot of comments on it.
Exactly.
Because cannot be treated as one thing, and usually it needs operation or chemo or things. And
yeah, it differs. As I told, not all the cases. There are few cases. There are few specific cases that I can say I might take chance and I can. And again, it depends on how strongly the patient is ready to faithfully take it.
Any medicine that comes as a belief in the system.
Belief in the system. Where the patient told, if I'm dying, I have to die through your medicine and no other medicine, is what the patient told. And that is why I agreed to take it. Okay, because again, it is a controversial, and I can't take out the protocol what they have written. And I'm not a doctor where I force. I'm like, see, these are the general protocols. These are like this, like this. Since I have a little idea on, because I go to an oncology hospital, I know how it works. And I've told, in fact, any cases are there, I make them meet my oncologist doctor, who's known person to me. So I'll make them meet the person also. And then comes their choice.
Yeah.
I'm ready to take them even after chemo, even after the side effects. Or if the side effects are more, I'm ready to treat them. Yeah. So it works hand in hand.
So this choosing homeopathy to treat and or to be healthy, is it an intellectual decision? Should I be well aware of the system? Because I have a pain, I go to doctor. That's all. As a layman, we go.
Yeah.
But homeopathy needs a lot of knowledge, or is it like my education matters? What kind of people are coming to homeopathy? Is it like well-read, well-educated?
Well-educated. Upper class, middle upper class. Now
what are you saying? You're saying only well-educated, well-read people choose
homeopathy. Yes.
Why is that?
Because of the awareness. Now they know how the, I'm not condemning other system, but the problem is they know what happens to their body. They can feel it, right?
We are not villainizing
anyone, but the thing is, they know what is happening. They can feel it at least, right? They can feel what is happening. And that is where they felt, oh my God, I'm taking it from 6-7 years, 4-5 years, and I'm not finding it.
There's no solution.
Solution.
Homeopathy gives a solution.
Yes. And yeah, there are a lot of phrases where they say where allopathic ends, homeopathy starts, and all that thing. But that is where it starts, right? Because when you know, when they say that the doctors, matlab, allopathy ka the only doctors. Ayush doctors are not doctors, is what people think.
This is exactly where I was trying to come. So, because Ayush doctors and allopathy doctors are always seen a little different. Practically, they are always a bit different. Okay, how expensive is homeopathy?
Homeopathy is not expensive. It is merely 100, 200
medicines.
Yeah. Again, it depends from the condition, what we give. Because every drug is of different price and all. But it can be as low as that.
Okay.
I've seen few physicians even give 50 rupees. They charge only 50 rupees.
I mean, you're talking about the consulting fee.
No,
the medicine.
With medicines.
With medicine.
Our medicine, as per Dr. Henneman, he has always told, if you're a physician, you're not just prescribing. You should dispense it as well.
So, whatever your consulting fee will include the medicine fee also?
It depends from physician to physician.
Okay. But ideally?
Ideally, the physician who gives, who tells you to take medicine, should also give the medicine.
And that is, okay.
And it's a physician duty to check the genuineness of the medicine.
Okay.
So, as a person, as a homeopathy physician, like majority, I could say 98% that I know, everyone who prescribes will also dispense.
Okay. So, the pharmacy is always inbuilt. It's not like you go to that medical store and buy. Usually, homeopathics have their own pharmacy.
Yeah.
Is it not custom? And why is this OTC now? Is there OTC?
See,
which is OTC is over the counter. I go buy a homeopathy medicine, right?
Please don't take it that way. Okay. See, they are naming it through a disease like cold or this one for this condition and all. They're giving it now.
Yeah.
But please don't take it without the consultation of a homeopathic doctor. Okay. And one thing is, we, as I told you the word again, potentization. So in that, there are different stages. Okay. Wherever it is 1x or 2x, they are just working on your nutritional level. We are giving in a higher potency, such that it will reach to your highest point. It has deeper penetration, deeper way the cells will respond to that medicine, and 200, 1M potency and all, 30 potency. Depends on the case. Again, it is all individual. I can't tell it is definite.
Okay.
So, they are in that form, you should always consult the doctor. Why are we taking 1 hour case, 2 hour case? If it was that simple, then anybody could have got cured. No, it is not as simple as that. And whatever we get counter the medicine, they're all in 1x and 2x.
So it's kind of safe. At least it will not.
It is safe. Completely safe. Agar you take anything also, even if it may affect or it may not affect. But the thing is, there are examples, there are few groups of medicine, Kali groups, that should not be given during fever.
Okay.
And you take over the counter without the knowledge of physician. By chance, those drugs that will adversely cause you effects.
So today we uncovered the basics of homeopathy, how it works, why it's unique, and why it's more than just good feel or placebo. It really cures all kind of health problems, but trust me, this is just the beginning. There's so much more depth, so many myths to bust and truths to uncover in the episode 2. Please wait.